We are a week out. I haven't changed my opinion on it. I've gone from 50-50 to Canelo's going to be too big to Crawford's going to win, and I'm sticking with Crawford winning. You know when you just can't picture someone losing. That's what it is. It's not I picture him winning. I can't picture him losing. That's what it is. He seems like a man possessed at the moment, where I've actually already seen Canelo lose. He lost to Bivol, lost to Floyd, and for me, he lost to Golovkin. So I've seen him lose. I haven't seen Crawford lose. I don't know, man. It's such a... I'm sticking with Crawford. I'm going to do a video with G-Man on Sunday, and we're going to try and go back and forth for about an hour, looking at everything, looking at their last fights. We're going to go in details right now. If I had money, my money's on Terence Crawford to maybe cause an upset. I don't even know who's a favourite here. And in doing so, put himself in discussion to jump Usyk as pound for pound #1. It will be close. It will be a great fight.
I see the fight going is Canelo is the pressure fighter. He's got to put the pressure on Crawford. He has to be able to land his big shots. He's seasoned at fighting at super middleweight. He's fought as high as light heavyweight, as we know. So he is accustomed to the bigger punches, the bigger shots. I don't think Crawford can really land anything that's going to trouble a guy like Canelo Alvarez. You know, Canelo is such a good pressure fighter, and for him to be successful in this fight, he needs to be able to really cut the ring off very, very well with a guy like Terence Crawford. And for him to be successful, he has to land shots on Crawford, put him in two frames of minds, make Crawford double think every time Canelo goes into and wants to land shots and land shots.
Who knows? Shout out to both of those guys for making that fight happen as well and challenging them. I've always went with Crawford this fight. It's nothing against Canelo, because Canelo's a hell of a fighter. I don't know how he is as a person. Neither guy, I don't know how neither of them are as a person, but I like Crawford for challenging himself. Like, that's the type of things I do and I've done. So I like anybody that's willing to challenge themselves. Whether it's money or not, you still have the heart to go in there and challenge the bigger guy. So, but I think it's gonna be, I think if Crawford uses his boxing ability, then it'd be a better fight for him. Canelo punch you on your arms everywhere. He be chopping down, punch you on your arms and all. So that's the only, and that wear you down. So yeah, I'm not sure.
It's a big what if, huh?
Yeah. So that's what makes the fight so interesting. That right there, those questions that we all have, is what makes the fight interesting and makes you want to watch.
You say that because you're fighting with nobody.
So when I beat you, is you gonna be a nobody? I don't care about anybody else. Nobody.
My money's on Terence Crawford to maybe cause an upset. I don't even know who's a favorite here.
The outcome of this fight is going to linger for a long time.
Son, all of a sudden they're going to say, Canelo should have fought him 5 years earlier.
I think this fight is going to be one of the best fights in the boxing.
Mega fight. It's a clash of two titans, two guys who have reached the pinnacle of their sport multiple times. Undisputed champions, both of them, going for more supremacy. Now, it's an interesting one. It's going to be a difficult one to pick and choose. You know, my choices from my mindset as a fighter and a fan of the sweet science, might change, because again, styles make fights. We have to wait till, they're both in the ring, these two titans. But
I want to be remembered as one of the all-time greats. I got to go through Canelo to do it.
And for him to be successful, he has to land shots on Crawford.
They teach me. I try it in the sparring the next day. So
you're not just watching a fight, you're witnessing a legacy clash that could redefine the sport. Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford just locked eyes in a face-off that told you everything without a single word. You saw Canelo, stone-faced, unfazed, a man who's been here too many times to flinch. But then you saw Crawford, calm, locked in, staring straight through him like he's already written the final chapter. You know the stakes are sky high. This isn't about belts anymore. It's about greatness. You've heard Canelo call it a legacy war, something that could go down as the most important night in modern boxing. And you can feel that. You can feel how badly he wants to silence every doubt and hand Crawford his first loss. But Crawford isn't here just to make history. He's here to take it.
ripped, and he definitely looks thicker. He looks quite a bit thicker.
Technical, he's better than Canelo. I just don't see him beating Canelo.
I don't know if he's better technically. Canelo's pretty good technically.
Pound for pound, #1 in the world.
He's
not even close.
So good,
not even
dude.
close. Yeah.
Crawford's so good.
What he did to Errol Spence is unbelievable.
But then also remember, Crawford hasn't fought in 2 years.
Is it that long?
Yep.
He's greatness, though.
Madrimov was 2 years ago? Well, the thing about Errol Spence, though, you got to remember, Errol Spence crashed his Ferrari and flipped it and flew out and landed on his head. Like, he got fucked up in that car accident.
I know, but I don't think it had anything to do with it. I think Crawford's just got a higher fighter.
Nah, it had to do something with it. A guy that gets that fucked up.
Crawford's so good. Like, he does that to everybody.
Crawford's so good, no doubt.
He was ejected from his...
Though Terence Crawford can box, I look at Terence Crawford as a puncher boxer. I look at Canelo Alvarez as a puncher boxer, not the other way around. If they move, it's either to rest or get in position to do what they really want to do. Start a fight and land a punch that's going to change the course of the night. So I can't just say that Terence is going to outbox him. We know what he's going to do. I don't know. You got to do, both of these fighters are extremely stubborn, and you cannot be great for any extended period of time and not have that stubbornness about you. Even though Canelo Alvarez has some blemishes on his record, there's a perfectly good reason for each one, the draws and the losses. So he's been outclassed by Mayweather, but he's never been beat up and shown.
But I hope that it's not, at the end of the day, when we're talking about saying, yeah, this fight happened a few years too late. I think that's potential of that being there. And nobody's talked about that, because in their mind, they're both in their prime. Until they're not in their prime. Until all of a sudden Canelo shows up and his legs are slow and he's not closing the gap so fast. And Crawford is taking advantage of that. Or whatever it is, whatever side of it it's on. All of a sudden they're going to say, Canelo should have fought him 5 years earlier or 3 years earlier. He would have beat him. You know, so I hope we're not getting that, but it's a fight that I want to see. But I see the possibility of that cloud.
Questions I've ever seen in boxing. This is a real problem for Crawford, because he might be the better boxer, but can you actually hurt this guy? It's going to be hard, especially when you're moving up in weight. But if there is anyone who can do it, it's Terence Bud Crawford, a man who survived getting shot in the head.
He does. I think it's just too much size, and obviously, I mean, Canelo's not a new fighter. He knows he has a lot of experience too, so I think it's just gonna be too much weight for Crawford. Even though Crawford's a great fighter, I think he might give him a run for his money the first maybe 6.
All these, they were great, but this one's getting so much attention, and Pacquiao and Mayweather got that kind of attention. I hope that's the only similarity to it. I hope it doesn't become disappointing the way that fight did, where people said that at the end of the day, and rightfully so, it was very disappointing, and it was at least 5 years too late. I hope, and see, nobody else has touched on this. And again, you brought me here. You're probably going to get me killed because you brought me here, but you brought me here. There will be people that want to hear this.
You've seen him clap back on social media, turning Canelo's own words against him. You've watched the momentum build. Crawford isn't just confident. He's surgical, focused. You know he's stepping into enemy territory, outgunned in size, but not in belief. Everyone around you has an opinion. Some say Canelo's too big, too powerful, too experienced. Others remind you that Crawford's never tasted defeat for a reason. They tell you he's special, smart enough to adapt, vicious enough to finish. You've felt the tension in every interview, every stare down, every post.
And the pick ain't gonna change. I'm telling you that now. Unless Canelo goes out there and say at a public workout and he's walking with a limp, then my pick ain't changing. Crawford is not gonna do that. He's a very proud man. He doesn't know what it's like to be defeated. He fully believes in himself, and the shape he looks in phenomenal shape. He's coming into this fight fully believing that he can win this, and that right there is the mindset you need to have. It won't guarantee you victory, but it will give you a better chance than if you went in there thinking, right, just survive and see what happens. I do think that the size difference will be something. Although saying Crawford, again, he's come up from 135 pounds, and he's filled out a lot since then, of course, right? But he's never fought anyone who hits as hard as Canelo. He's never fought anyone who is as physically strong as Canelo. Probably not fought anyone who's as tough as Canelo. And Although Canelo, when it comes to movers, he does tend to struggle a little bit, as we saw last time out. Or not even that he tends to struggle, but that he just happy to plod and follow you around the ring. Crawford has never been a mover. He can move, and he does move very, very well, but he's never been an excessive mover. He's an aggressive fighter. He's a boxer puncher. He likes to close the show. He likes to hurt you. He likes to open up. He likes to land heavy shots.
They do make weight classes for a reason. Canelo is still very strong. He's a good body puncher, and he's a bigger guy naturally. So that does bring a bit of a risk to the table. I think Crawford can win the fight. I just wonder whether he can get a decision. That's always the question with Canelo, right? Can Canelo get a decision? I mean, can Crawford get a decision over Canelo? Can anybody get a decision over Canelo? We know Bivol did, but Bivol essentially won a 10-2, 11-1 fight, and they barely gave it to him.
Yeah. Because the legs were never that great to begin with. Canelo's legs were never his greatest attribute. He always had slow feet. He was never he was good at cutting the ring off. If you go and watch the fight he had with Billy Joe, he cut the ring off very effectively in that fight. But again, better legs back then. And against someone like a Terence Crawford, who is used to, he'll probably be amazed at how slow Canelo's feet are, because he's used to fighting guys with good feet. Majimov had them. Spence didn't really, but he's fought guys like Porter who have good legs. Kell Brook was a great jab. He's fought guys like that, and he's been able to get around what they have. So that being said, surely with Alvarez, he'll be able to get around it.
It's interesting because I think that the only dynamic that makes this fight competitive, in my opinion, is the difference in weight class. I think Canelo has been, for a while, a diminishing fighter. Call it age, call it whatever other things you want to call it. But I just think that, the only reason he's even still around at this level is because he's avoided his top contenders in his weight class, so he's been able to still remain champion at that weight class. And now, being champion at that weight class, it has sort of brought up this big opportunity to fight a smaller, excellent world champion in Terence Crawford. So I think when it comes to the levels of boxing, just straight from boxing perspective, I think Crawford is head and shoulders above Canelo. But
if Canelo wins, it just adds on to his resume of champions he didn't face, and it'll quiet a lot of critics and things that people have been saying about him. But if Crawford wins, the sky's the limit for him. Yeah, he probably even retire. Who knows? But if Crawford wins, then it makes his resume 10 times better.
You've watched fighters and analysts pick sides, flip-flop, or double down. But now it's your turn, because you're not just a fan. You're part of this moment. So who do you believe in? The power and presence of a seasoned champion, or the precision and fire of an unbeaten tactician? Either way, you're not missing it, because on September 13th, you don't just watch a mega fight, you live it.